Over the past few weeks, President Donald Trump has pursued a diplomatic approach that many observers consider uncharacteristic of the United States. Rather than reinforcing long-standing alliances, the administration has repeatedly signaled a willingness to pressure, confront, or even sideline traditional partners. This shift has fueled growing debate over whether the U.S. is attempting to reshape the global geopolitical order by redefining who its allies are and who they are not. One of the clearest examples of this approach is the renewed interest in Greenland. The United States has openly discussed the possibility of taking over Greenland, a territory that belongs to Denmark. This has raised serious concerns, as Denmark is a NATO member. Any aggressive move toward Greenland could potentially lead to open conflict with a NATO ally, fundamentally undermining the alliance system that has long anchored U.S. foreign policy. Another major point of tension lies in the war in Ukraine. President Trump has refused to directly equip Ukraine, while openly admitting that European countries are the ones paying for American-made weapons supplied to Kyiv. This admission reinforces the perception that the United States has effectively shifted the financial burden of the war onto Europe, even as the conflict poses a direct security threat to the continent. For many European leaders, this raises questions about U.S. reliability as a security partner. In the recent past, economic pressure has also become a central tool in this evolving strategy. The administration has weaponized tariffs against European countries, particularly ahead of the World Economic Forum. These tariffs signal that economic leverage is being used not just against rivals, but also against allies, blurring the line between competition and partnership. President Trump indicated that the 10% tariffs will kick in on February 1st, and will be revised to 26% June 1st if European countries will not have taken the right measures. In response to this, President Emmanuel Macron of France has indicated that the countries will retaliate by activating an economic bazooka that comprises tariffs and sanctions against American products.
And we do prefer rule of law to brutality.
We stand firmly with Greenland and Denmark and fully support their unique right to determine Greenland's future.
This mindset was further highlighted by remarks from U.S. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick at the World Economic Forum. Lutnick stated that when the United States shines, the world shines, suggesting that what is good for the U.S. is automatically good for the rest of the world. Critics argue that such statements show a disregard for the interests and concerns of allies, reinforcing perceptions of an increasingly unilateral U.S. approach.
But I want to point out, when America shines, the world shines.
Relations with Norway have also drawn attention. President Trump reportedly told Norwegian leaders that he no longer feels obliged to think purely in terms of peace after Norway failed to award him the Nobel Peace Prize. The statement has been widely interpreted as signaling that diplomatic goodwill may be tied to personal or political recognition, raising concerns about how decisions are made at the highest levels.
But I feel that Norway has tremendous control over who gets the Nobel Prize, despite what they say.
Regarding the issue of rebuilding Gaza, Trump has invited Russian President Vladimir Putin to join a newly proposed Board of Peace to discuss Gaza-related issues, despite Russia's ongoing war with Ukraine. This move has shocked many observers, given Russia's role in destabilizing Eastern Europe. The Board of Peace is intended to function as a committee overseeing Gaza, giving it significant influence over a highly sensitive and volatile issue. In addition to Putin, leaders such as Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, as well as the leaders of Jordan and Pakistan, have also been invited to participate. These are countries that maintain poor or strained diplomatic relations with Israel, and their inclusion has raised alarm in Jerusalem and among Israel's supporters. At the same time, European leaders appear to be distanced, with Trump showing no interest in having leaders such as President Macron in the board.
Have you invited President Putin to be a member of the Board of Peace?
Yeah, he's been invited.
Do you have any response to President Macron saying he will not join the Board of Peace?
Oh, did he say that? Well,
Yeah.
nobody wants him because he's going to be out of office very soon.
As a result, these decisions risk creating a serious rift between the United States and Israel. Israeli officials have stated that the makeup of the Board of Peace directly contradicts Israel's policy and security concerns, calling into question the depth and future of U.S. Israel cooperation under this framework. Taken together, these developments suggest a broader shift in U.S. foreign policy. One that prioritizes leverage, transactional relationships, and strategic recalibration over traditional alliance management. Whether this represents a long-term transformation of the global order or a temporary departure remains an open question, but the consequences are already being felt across Europe, the Middle East, and beyond.